Welcome back to Beyond the Brand. Today I am joined by someone who's helped transform movement into meaning. Lionel Brodie III is the founder of Original Propaganda Athletic Club, aka OPAC, a community that's blending running, wellness, and identity into a space that is much about the people as it is the pace. From fashion to sports operations to international community building, Lionel built something that feels just as spiritual as it is physical. And today we're going beyond the brand and we're going to be talking about mindset, mistakes, motivation, and the mission behind it all. So Lionel, I appreciate you pulling up. First of all, you can just tell the people how you're feeling and tell them a little bit more about yourself.
I'm feeling great, man. Thanks for having me. Like you said, Lionel Brodie III, founder of OPAC. We started OPAC 13 years ago, almost 13 years. It'll be 13 years in July. So pretty excited about the anniversary coming up. We just had, as you know, you were there, our biggest spring event, OPAC Relays, last Thursday, which was circus, crazy. So now we're getting ready for Broad Street. And then after Broad Street run this Sunday, gonna sleep for like 4 days straight, and then get right back to it. Sure, yeah.
So Brodie's crew was actually the first crew I actually started running with when I started when I got into running back in like 2020 or so. I was running a lot with OPAC, and they're a great crew, great community of people. Yeah,
appreciate that.
At least like 25 to 30 people out on a Saturday run to just go out and run around the art museum. So it's a great crew if you're looking for a beginner friendly crew as well.
Yeah.
To just get into running and learn more about that. But before we get more into OPAC and how you got into, what were you into growing up? What were you always into? Athletics? What sports were you into? And how much was your identity was tied into running and performance?
Nothing in the running. like I grew up West Philly. So basketball, I loved basketball growing up. I actually thought I was going to be a hooper. Okay. But then when I was in the 8th grade, I reached my max height of 5'10", and then just started growing horizontally, pause, and not vertically. So when I got to high school, I went from being like a forward to like a guard, and they were just like, dude, you need to get a job, bro. Like, get a job, and yeah, it's a wrap.
Hooping dreams are done.
Yeah, it's a wrap. I always been crazy into fashion. I remember nobody's ever asked me this, two very vivid instances that completely changed it for me. Once I was like 6 or 7, my older cousin gave me like a pair of Patrick Ewing Adidas and a matching jacket, and I couldn't even leave the steps. So I was just on my parents' steps just flexing hard for anybody driving down the street, walking down the street. Yeah, just like walking to and from the corner, hoping somebody would see me. But that day I just felt so like legitimate. And then when I was, maybe it was like 96, the patent leather, white, black patent leather Jordans just came out. So I left school, sorry mom, I left school, shot down to the gallery to get them. They didn't have my size, they only had a 12, so I got double the socks, got the 12. I'm getting back on the train to go back to school, and like, way before my wife, but at the time it was beautiful. She was like, damn, I really love your sneakers, and I was like, shit, man, I'm hooked forever now.
I'm dressing forever, bro. Every time you see me,
exactly. It went from Nike to Polo, Hilfiger, all that from those two instances.
Yeah.
But yeah, basketball was my favorite sport growing up. I didn't really start touching the running piece until I was like a full adult, dog, like past my 30s. Yeah.
And what made you get into running?
I worked for Villanova. I went to Villanova. I worked for Villanova in athletics. And so one night I'm in DC, Arlington actually, and I was talking to the trainer for the women's basketball team. She was a marathoner. So as I was starting to get more and more interested in what she was saying, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go for a run with you tomorrow. Now mind you, it was the Grey Goose and Tonics was talking heavy. Because in my mind, I'm like, dude, she'll forget, and then I'm off the hook the next day, and I'm saying, we good. So next morning, she knocks on my door, and I couldn't even kick it like I ain't had no running gear, because I'm the director of equipment. So I got I got the gear. Yeah. So we go for a run.
How many miles?
to me, we was like 7 miles, but it was like 3 miles. We ran but it wasn't 3 miles straight. So we run across the bridge into DC. It was mad cold, so I had to go to this gas station and buy a hat. It was like a NASCAR hat. So I'm wearing this NASCAR hat running. I think I ran for 1.5 miles straight. And then, but that feeling of euphoria was like, that run is high is real.
I got to do it again.
So we had to run back to the hotel. We're like, mad chill pace, and then after that day, I was just hooked.
Yeah. I remember my first time ever, going on a run. So this is back in, after I was done college and things, back in 2020. I was, like I said, I don't think a lot of people know, but I was like 200 pounds, and
oh, I didn't know that.
it was around the time where you were eating Popeye. I was eating Popeyes,
Them
the Popeye chicken sandwiches,
yeah.
bro. The Popeye chicken sandwiches, bro. I was questioning. I was doing nothing in the pandemic other than eating Popeye chicken sandwiches and playing like Fortnite.
Right.
The next thing you know, I got up to like 200 pounds, and one of my homies came on and see me and was like, "Bro, like this is getting out of hand."
Right.
Then after that, I was like, I can't let this guy call me big, and I started running. The first mile I ever did was like 18 minutes.
Yeah.
I was running 18 minutes.
I mean, that's a good mile for some people, yo.
I remember seeing that, and then I felt good, and I remember seeing somebody that I knew from high school, and he just saw me, just shook his head, and I was like, damn, right.
Yeah. I gotta step my game up now. I gotta step my game up.
This is never gonna happen to me again.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but so tell me a little bit about your time. You spoke a little bit about working at Villanova.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, and what that taught you as the director of equipment. So are you still there, or like?
Nah, I left Nova in 2018.
Okay.
I left Nova 2018, so I went to school there from 97 to 01. Worked for N1, did marketing for like a tire company for like 18 months, and then got back to Nova. So as a director of equipment, or equipment manager, you're responsible for outfitting all of the teams, all of the varsity teams, but then also providing the equipment, like the health and safety stuff, make sure nobody gets hurt is primary. So my main sports were both the basketballs, both the track and fields and cross countries, and then like soccer, field hockey, women's lacrosse, and golf. But like the sports I work with the most. And it was mad cool, yo. Like the gear was unbelievable. Like the Nike gear was elite. And I had started running during that time. So it was interesting because I traveled with men's and women's basketball. So the coaches and the players and the staff, like we all became a family. You know how it is, you go on a trip with somebody. Like and you know these athletes for 4 or 5 years and the coaches. And so like you live together half the year. The other sports they never travel with, so the relationships with those athletes were, I don't want to say superficial, but you didn't get a chance to grow them and mature with them like that. But once I started running, and like the track teams would see me, I mean, they would just like fly past me, right? Yeah. But once they saw me out there running, it was like, okay, they felt that I could relate to them better. Yeah. So then I started getting cool with like mad track athletes cross country, because there was like, but you know how running is, it's super, even when you're running in a group, it's like mad singular.
Yeah.
You know what you're saying? Like, it's not like the group doesn't push you forward. Like if they all pass you, it's just you.
You're going,
yeah. And so I was really appreciative to build those relationships in track. And again, I love gear, so then it became like I gotta have the illest running shit out. I gotta have the illest, what sneakers work. I started running the Air Maxes because I've been like, it's the most expensive shoe. Yeah. It's gotta be the best one. And then you realize like, dude, you running in like a low top basketball shoe, dog. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
You hurt yourself.
I know, and I did. Yeah.
So was there ever a moment like in your career where you felt like, you lost stock, or like, you had to kind of get out of that rut, or it was like you always loved what you've been doing?
In 2015, when I was at Nova, I started thinking that I was gonna leave and move on. And so then we won a championship in 2016. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna stay now to defend it, right? Like I was playing, but to defend it, that was the mindset. We were just so locked in. So at that time I started dating Jamie. She's the head, my wife Jamie, head cheerleading coach. And but like the vibe changed for in a good way at Villanova. Like you go from being like you're a really small school known for academics, but then you win a chip, and then like the next year you're number one in the country.
What year was that?
This was 16.
16. Who was on the team? That was
The Chris Jenkins shot.
Okay.
Chris Jenkins, Jalen Brunson was a freshman or sophomore. He was young. Josh Hart was on that team. Darryl Reynolds, Ryan Archidiacono, that squad.
Yeah.
The 18 squad was like Phil Booth and Archie Arch wasn't there. DiVincenzo,
I forgot all those guys.
Brunson, Mikael Bridges, Amari Spellman. Like we had players, right?
Yeah.
So sometime between 16, we won a chip. I had already been thinking about leaving. I just wanted to do something different. And I was starting to get to the point where I don't want to hate my alma mater. I got to get out of here before I start to hate everything Villanova.
It was getting too big.
Yeah, it was getting too big, and like we were starting to get audited. Like everything that happens when you start up, not in a small business, you start a small business, you start to grow, the responsibilities grow.
Yeah.
17, we lose in the second round. 17 was the first year of OPAC relays. So I had all this time on my hands to plan OPAC, the first OPAC relays. And so I remember saying to Ricky was there and Eric Chappelle, I don't know if you know E, because they were helping me out a lot that day. And I was like, I got to quit Nova. Yeah. Like the only way this OPAC thing will work is if I'm not dedicating all of my time to Nova basketball. 2018, we won again. And I'm like, I'm definitely out now. Yeah. So and it was, I was so burnt out with work that it was starting to affect my relationship with Jamie. She was a newer coach and wanted to talk about work all the time. She's mad excited. And I'm just like, man, I really don't. I don't want to talk about that. I feel like I'm still at work. And so I left Nova in 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you felt like you had to overcome that.
I just didn't want to, and it worked out I was able to go and work for another company, still work with Nova, but from 15 to 18, it was just the everyday of the pressure of like, you're trying to compete with Duke, you're trying to compete with Georgetown, you're trying to compete with UConn. There's also like, personal things happening, within our own department, and we're trying to maintain, make sure we're doing the right thing so we don't get in trouble. I had lost 2 grandparents at that time, so I went from having 2-3 grandparents alive to I had no grandparents, all in this period, and
it's a lot to handle. Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta change something.
Yeah.
And the relationship with Jamie was starting to go in a really good direction, and so I was like, let me just walk away from this while I still love everything. Yeah. So if I want to go back, I can. Okay. Yeah.
So right now, are you running OPAC full time, or
so right now I'm OPAC all the time. Yeah. The Philly chapter, which is all running. And then we have a Salt Lake City chapter, which is youth development, basketball, volleyball, soccer, and cross country for both boys and girls, like 5th to 8th grade.
All right, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk more about OPAC now. I know you said it started in 2012. 2012. So when was the moment when you said, okay, let me get this started, and what were the challenges there?
My first race was a half marathon, and so I joined Rock and Roll half. Now it's PDR.
Okay.
And so I joined this training group. Lululemon used to have a store in Wayne. They had a training group for beginners or whatever. So I'm in this training group, and one day that training group decided to run with another training group, who I won't mention because they're still around. And so it was like if you ever saw dodgeball. We were Average Joes and they were Globo Gym. Like we showed up with camp shirts and basketball shorts. I was in Air Maxes. I didn't know what I was doing. And I felt like they were in singlets with the bib still on them. Yeah. You ever see somebody go skiing and they got the ski tags on and be like, dude.
I already know who you're talking
about. Yeah. So we go for a run with them and they dusted us. But it wasn't the fact that they were faster or anything. It was just it just seemed like there wasn't a human connection there. So in my mind, and I had never any intention of starting a run club, but I felt like shit, and I was dating a woman at the time She was like 6'2", I'm 5'10", so we already not even supposed to be together. So now she looking at me like, little man crying. Yeah,
Dead.
yeah. And so I was like, if I ever started a run club, I never want it to feel like this.
Yeah.
And so,
Like a competition almost.
or not even a competition, because competition is great, right? But just not a place where like we should all be able to start and end at the same place.
Okay, yeah.
And feel like running is just one big language, and the paces are just accents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you faster than me, but like, we can't leave from this place, go for a run, come back and kick it. You know what I'm saying? And so it just didn't feel like that existed in that particular space. And so I wanted to create something that if we all went for a run, we can all start and end together, and everybody supporting each other, just be all love. You know, but I'll never forget that awful feeling from, that was awful.
Yeah, that's literally, I was about to ask you that. Like, how did that make you feel? Like, I know, especially like when something like that happens to most people, they're like, all right, I'm not coming back to this space again. But you kind of use that to fuel you and say, hey, I'm gonna build something on my own and make it so that so nobody else has to feel this way again. So that was pretty cool to hear and say and see. So yeah, I was gonna speak more about that. And
I quit running for like an hour. Like, I'm in the car.
An hour?
Yeah, for like an hour. Like, dude, we're in the car, and mind you, I'm smart. Like, I went to Nova on a full academic ride. So I'm in the car with this woman. I know it's over because like, you dating somebody that's taller than you anyway, that can never wear heels. That relationship is, unless you Tyson or somebody, Floyd Mayweather, you got a bunch of bread, that shit's going nowhere, dog. So now I pull back up to the run crying, so she looking at me like, you can't even protect me. You know what I'm saying? So we're in the car, we're in, and we're on the main line. It's not even, if you were in Philly, you'd be like, oh, he might be going through some trauma. She like Carton Banks is in here crying, dog. So we pull up to like, you know, the bagel place to get breakfast. I'm talking to my, the leader of the training group, who's like my running mentor. And I'm like, yo, man, I can't go back there ever. I haven't felt that way like almost ever in my life. And she's like, okay, this was an 8-mile run. What's your next long run? I said, we got a 10-miler on, maybe it was like 8.5, because the jump from 8 to 10 is wild. Might have been 9 miles. The next week it was like a 10-miler. Like the first time I was ever running double digits. And she was like, do the 10-miler, do the normal stuff you would do during the week, run in 10 miles, and then if you decide that like you done with running, and then like, you know, then it's a wrap. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I did the normal, you know, shorter runs you do during the week, the strength workouts and all that. And I worked at Nova at the time, so it was easy to like hit the track, get the speed work in or whatever. And then Saturday, me and the same woman ran 10 miles, and I felt great. That might have been the best run I've ever had in my entire life. And then I was like, all right, it's like anything. Like, you're gonna have bad days, like you have a bad day in life, you know, work or whatever, you just can't always quit. Yeah. So, Sue Ann is her name. I was glad she taught me through it, because I was ready to just be like, I don't need this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what was the first OPAC one? Well, how did that look like? Did you know what it would become? You know, during that moment.
It was 3 people. It was in Wayne. And it wasn't, to be honest with you, when OPAC was Villanova Run Crew first, because I worked at Nova. The Villanova Run Crew was, I think our max number was like 10. It was all people who worked in athletics or like throughout campus or whatever. I mean, it started to pick up steam a little bit, but you know, kids graduate, like interns get new jobs, like coaches leave, and then like there was a lot of end dating. So you started losing people in the divorce, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't bang with you no more, so I'm out type stuff. And then it was down to like 1, which was me. So, but I missed that accountability and the communal feeling of like running with a group, because we were vicious. We all worked in the same building, and we were so stupidly competitive at running. Like me and you go run 5 miles, and then like if I had nothing to do, I'd go run like another 3 miles and just walk past your office all sweaty, pause, and you be like, what you doing? I'm like, oh, I just crushed this run. So now you, and then you sit there in the meet like, damn, don't they do that?
I don't even got time.
Yeah, exactly. But when OPAC started, I never thought that it would even grow to this point. And I also thought that we were the only, I didn't know anything about fully run culture because I was living in Wayne at the time, working in Nova. I really thought we were like the George Washington of Philadelphia running until I was like, oh, there's Fishtown and South Philly Striders and Manayunk and City Fit Girls and Philly Runners group, Bryn Mawr's group. You know, all the running stores had a group. So, yeah, man, I never thought we would get to this particular moment, and we're still trying to grow and learn too. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And it's important that you talk. And it's important that you talked about all the different groups that are in the city right now. Especially, it seems like there's more just popping up and popping up. So how do you find that in terms of keeping members in the long term and getting them to commit to staying to your run club?
Right.
So many other run clubs popping up.
You know, I feel like with any market, it's like your company. There's not 1,000, but you could probably name 50 different, print and branding and promotional, however you want to advertise your company, places in Philly. You just got to put out good product. If you come to OPAC versus Run Club X and the people are great, it's welcoming, you feel safe, you're getting what you need from the runs, and like the social piece is good. It helps us that we worked with brands and we work with brands a decent amount, so we have good gear and that's good. If you are putting out a good product, then it doesn't matter how many other clubs there are in the city. And each club that's popping up is, for the most part, doing their own thing in a very unique way, cool, and everybody's got their own, situation. And you have to almost look at it like, this is another group of people that I get to learn from. Y'all crushed that Instagram. Maybe we should be doing something like that. Oh, you got a YouTube channel. Oh, that's dope. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, you use the QR code as opposed to like the Google. Yeah. Maybe that's the vibe. I mean, any group that's getting together, to my opinion, to like be physically active and socially active in a positive way, is just good.
It's good for the community.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like,
it's not a competition.
We're competing, because like we all want, but in like a friendly way. Like if you had a run club, I had a run club, and somebody came in here and said, I only can run Saturdays at 9. Well, we run Saturdays at 9, and you run Saturdays at 9. Neither one of us are gonna be like, oh, you should go run with them. You all want that extra member to keep growing because like you want to have the most people in the photo, whatever. But that don't mean we slashing each other tires and like, you know what I'm saying? And a certain level of competition is good. It's how you stay, I'm sure you drive and you see somebody with some gear or like a wrap and you're like, damn, we gotta step our shit up. You know what I'm saying? Or like, they don't got nothing on us, you know what I'm saying? Or you don't care. One of the three. One of the three. Or you don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Man, I guess you're right. It's all depends on your perspective, right?
Right. I mean, there's a lot of groups, more groups than, but like, who's to say that when we started in 2012, the groups that preceded us was like, we don't need another run group. You know what I'm saying? We already, none of us should be out here gatekeeping because not one person that's alive invented running or run crews.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So
OPAC's mantra is all faces, all paces. What does that mean to you now versus when you started?
Damn, that's a serious question. when we started, it meant they were just about the numbers. It was about everybody, whatever your numerical pace is on your. Then it was like the Nike running. It was like no Strava. Or I didn't know about Strava. Whatever your pace is fine. However you look is fine. It was truly about the tangible demographics. Any race, any age, any body shape, and any time or distance. Now it's come to mean comprehensive inclusivity. So all of that, plus like any political view, sexual orientation, sexual preference, like however you want to identify yourself as a human being, is cool with us. You know what I'm saying? But you have to really mean that. You can't be a person that's like, you know, we accept all political views unless you voted for somebody different,
Yeah.
then I'll bang with
I'll
you.
bang, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, so politics obviously doesn't come up often, but you politics doesn't come out often, but we definitely want to use it as like we want everybody to feel safe and welcome whenever they're around us. Now the challenge has become, well, how do you find inclusivity? Because everybody's using that word, right? Like culture. You know, how do you define culture? How do you define inclusivity? So I'm working with a couple of people to make sure that, like, when I'm saying it, I'm actually using it in the right way and not like I think I'm being inclusive, but I'm really. If we go to Fedisal every time after every run, and there's somebody that's vegan, you know what I'm saying? Like, are we
Being inclusive obviously is great for the brand as you're trying to build brand sponsorships as well.
Right.
You spoke a little bit about that. Have you worked with Lululemon, Nike, and other brand partners like that? How do you go about choosing those brand partners, and how do you go about finding them for people that are looking to try to work with brand partners with their own club?
right? I actually thought about this a lot today. Didn't prep, but I thought you might ask me a question like this, so I was trying to decide how I would answer it. I think there's 3 things people should realize when working with brands. One, you don't have to be dope. Because Swagger House is dope. And they just, from the muscle. I was telling Josh, they like Master P go in the trunk and just selling the CDs out the type vibe.
Everything they do goes.
Yeah, you know, from the muscle. 2, we should all realize that, like, the people who work at the brand. Brands aren't like AI or robots or something. So if you're going into a situation with a brand, realize that the person on the other end of that text message or that email or the coffee shop table or whatever, they want to have off on the weekends and they want to be able to hang with their friends or just disconnect and do whatever. So if you got something jumping on a Thursday, you know what I'm saying, don't hit them on Wednesday and be like, oh, I need you there, because, you know. And the third thing is, we've tried to go into every relationship with any brand and say, how can we help you too? You know, because it's easy to work with, not easy, but like if you're working with a Nike or a Lulu, we do Philly United with Hoka. We did OPAC relays with On for 2 years. It's easy to look at a multi-billion-dollar brand and be like, oh, I know what y'all can do for us. You know what I'm saying? But like, then you're talking to the human at the brand and you're saying, okay, how can I help you in your job? Do you need more people to show up to the demo runs? Are you really trying to push a shoe? You know what I'm saying? Like, can I wear it and put it on social, and it helps you because you get a free pair of kicks, right?
Yeah.
You know, but it also it's helping this rep or whoever it is reach people that they don't know. They don't know all your friends.
It's about community building.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and then you have to put out like I should say 4 things. You have to realize that, like, if you're working with a brand, there's compromise now. You know, I can't be flying off the handle on social media, mother F this and that. And, you know, it's like, you know, if you're working with a brand, especially depending on who the brand is, like, we were sponsored by Lulu. So, you know, you just can't be cursing and all that type of crazy stuff. But you have to realize that, like, the compromise is going to be there. You're not going to get everything. But if the end goal, you know, if you have a shared end goal, then, like, that's the most important thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people try to see if they can have it both ways, where they can do whatever you can, but still try to ask for money from brands. It's like you can't do
You
that.
have to be a certain level of, like, I don't want to use Kanye as an example, but let's use Kanye because everybody knows Kanye. Kanye had to get to a certain level before he can just start saying whatever he wanted to, and even then it hurt him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't come in as like some new. I mean, again, we can all do whatever we want, but there's gonna sometimes be consequences and repercussions if you do so. And like, Plus the people at the brands, you know, they're people. They gotta like you too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You could do a great job for somebody, but if they had a weird interaction with you on the phone, they'd be like, nah, we got the bomb print job from Minuteman, but like I don't like Mejire as a person, so I'm gonna go elsewhere. That plays a part of it as well.
Yeah. No,
You know?
definitely. So you're a builder, creative, strategic leader. But what's part of the work that drains you the most?
That drains me?
Yeah.
Not knowing how to use TikTok. No. The draining piece is, here's what I personally find draining. It's so hard to keep up with the way content is going. I'm 45 years old, so I remember VHS cassettes, and you know what I'm saying? I carried a Walkman. So the younger generation of people in any business sector have a huge advantage because on the fly, they know TikTok and how to make reels and you know, and like, I'm just learning how to get the right camera shot for the post. You know, we just had OPAC relays. I'm going psychotic to get the group photo. So that's going to be the content that gets the most likes. And then we had an influencer there who we collaborated on a reel. They made a reel with a drone I didn't even know was there. And it doubled the likes of the group photo because like, that's just where content is going. So I think the most draining part as a 45-year-old who would just much rather sit in the crib and just watch Netflix is like trying to stay current. Because if you don't stay current, then you can look at somebody and say like, oh, you're not current, dog.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You're still talking about like, even Twitter is different now. It's not even called the same
It's
thing.
X,
Yeah,
X is
exactly.
Twitter.
Yeah.
How do you keep your movement from being swallowed by all that marketing, that you know you're staying true to the brand and staying
Right.
true to what you want an OPAC to be, especially when you're working with Nike, Lululemon, and other brands, and they try to put in their own influence on how they want your event to look like?
Yeah, we three things. One, I went to school for marketing, so it's moving at a fast pace, but I understand it once I get it. The second piece is, I stole this from Tom Brady actually. I heard on TV that Tom Brady, when he left the Pats and went to the Buccaneers, that he hired like a cultural consultant because he knew that as like how old he was, all his wide receivers and running backs were like 19, 20 black people. The 43-year-old white man.
Can't relate to
He can't relate. He don't listen to the same music. You know what I'm saying? He don't watch the same shows.
Another week, Brady.
So he thinking hip hop is, he thinking like, you know, LL Cool J is like the wave. And people this generation don't even know LL Cool J as a rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so we have younger people on our leadership team that help bridge the gap there. And then the third thing is what I talked about, that compromise piece, where you're sitting down with a brand. Let's just take Nike for instance, because we just did OPAC relays with them. You know, you have to be confident to let them know what your brand is, how you want it to look, you know, how you want this to be represented in the community, understanding that like, okay, and from there in it's like, we get all that, but we need to make sure that we have this from our, you know, and where can you meet in the middle? Case in point, all of the red that you saw at OPAC relays, I wanted it to be orange. Because in my mind, when I think of Nike, I think of orange shoe boxes. They done with orange. They done with Victory Orange and they're on to Vomero Red. And so like we had to pivot everything, and I was like, I don't want to do the red because Lululemon last year was red, it's too similar, but this is what we do, this is what we need to do to make it work. This is the story that, they telling that story, so how do we make our story fit? And it's also a humbling thing because you got to realize too that like as much as you love your brand, dog, that's Nike. That's 50 billion. You know what I'm saying? They can be like, all right, we could just go do something else with somebody else.
So Nike wants to buy the brand right now.
yeah, and then I can go chill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about your Salt Lake City, Salt Lake City chapter, and
Right.
how you would get into more of consulting and working with athletes and things like that. What else does OPAC do for the people who aren't just there for run, and what kind of programming and support do you offer as well?
Yeah, right now in Philly, we're doing a little. We're trying to do a little athlete consulting in Philly too for runners. But the Salt Lake City piece is where we don't really do any running. Yeah, I mean, there's youth cross country, but that started as a need during the pandemic. One of my friends and business partner is from Philly and now is out in Salt Lake. His school, K to 12, they lost their middle school sports because the school didn't want to pay for them. They wanted to focus on high school. So now when you're in an underrepresented community, you're either playing video games all day, which depending on the games, probably maybe not a bad thing, right? I like video games. Or you're getting into some shit, or you're leaving the school. Now, if you're staying at the school, by the time ninth grade coach gets you, you're trash. Yeah. So we needed a feeder program. And this is high school sport. This is not like a club for funsies. Their job is based on going out in W's versus L's. And so we created our youth program to be like a development system for those kids to try to combat all of those reasons and all of those things. The consultancy piece started recently because of NIL and the transfer portal. And there's older athletes that we know, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and even 12th grade. So high school who are trying to navigate the new NCAA or NAIA landscape. And they're mainly young athletes who aren't 5-star or 4-star. You 5-star or 4-star, you already got an agent. You got every school calling you. You really don't have to worry about it. You just got to decide which letter you're going to sign, and you good. If you were 3-star, we love soccer. You were 3-star, 2-star soccer player. You might be the best player on your club, but your club is small.
Yeah, no one's going to hear about you.
And if you were junior or senior in high school and you haven't heard from a D1 college yet, you're not going D1.
So how do you plan to bridge that gap between the colleges and those students that might not be seen?
So what we're trying to do is work with the kids and their parents. There's a little bit of a reality check that comes in, like, at this particular moment, you might not be ready for this level that you think you're going to play on. It doesn't mean you can't get there. You can always transfer up, but you might have to go through a process where you think you're going D1, you might have to go to D2, put a stat line together, and then try to transfer up into a D1 program. If you go in D3, now we're talking no sponsors, no scholarship money. So now you're going from, my kid might get a full ride to school to like, I gotta pay tuition, I gotta get a loan or a grant or whatever. And it's almost the same thing with like running and like building a community or working with a brand. You're recognizing that like this family or this kid has entrusted you with like helping them make decisions based on like a mental thing and not an emotional thing. How many times you do something because the emotions got the best of you, the next thing you be like, damn dog, shouldn't have been on that time. And we're still learning it as we go, researching the NIL piece as we go, but it's pardon the expression, it's gonna swallow up a lot of these kids who aren't elite because now you have coaches like Rick Pitino or Dion saying that like, I'm not even going to high schools. I'm just going straight to the portal. I got to win now. They getting 10, 15. Dion got $50 million contract. He got to win now.
Yeah.
He don't got time for the high school kid that might be good.
Yeah, need to renew.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs to get his contract renewed.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so you're moving more to the consultation space and looking to go more into that space.
If not any, because you never know what kind of family background somebody will come from, but and a lot of this I take from me, I don't look like a runner. I'm probably twice your weight or size, pause, and I've been able to use my relationship with people and brands to like help us build this amazing community. Tons of amazing running communities in Philly. Yeah. And so I'm thinking to myself, if I was a Lululemon running ambassador, at this size. So you're an athlete, you have earning potential too. You just can't think that it's only for Shador or only for Caitlin Clark. So let's try to find, it might not be to that level of valuation. You're not getting a Gatorade commercial, but you from a town, that doesn't mean that like you can't go to like the diner you always go to, and even if they're giving you a little allowance every week, you know what I'm saying? It's money that you don't have to spend. And more importantly than like even the cash or the little gift card or whatever they may get you, now you can add it to your resume. So now when you going for a job, you can, under entrepreneurial or however you word it now, you can list it like, you know, you built a brand for yourself that was valuated at whatever amount of money. Chances are, if you're not going D1, you're not going pro, and then now you can have that, so you can. It helps you when you're looking for jobs in the future, when you're trying to get some real money.
That makes sense. So, you know, what's the future for OPAC in your head? Not what people would expect. What do you want it to become?
I think right now we're looking at another city to get into. The OPAC muse has always been New York Athletic Club, where it's like we wanted to start with running, and then once running was done, we would move on to like other sports similar to what we have in Philly. So like, let's say we had like a boxing team or a soccer team or something like that. It's just running we never close the circle on running because you can't. So, but we would really like to find another sport that people could be competitive in. Because you know, you might have played a sport in high school or college or something like that. A lot of these people that are running now are former soccer, field hockey, lacrosse players, and they used to. So you play soccer, and so like you want to find something to still be able to compete in, and something that a lot of people don't talk about. If you play soccer up into high school, right, or even college, you probably started when you were young. So you went through your whole young life identifying as a soccer player, and then it's just done after your last game. And a lot of people have a hard time, they have identity crisis with that. It's like the people you see, they 30, 40 years old, partying like they still at the fraternity. You be like, yo, dog, you know what I'm saying? The seg up days are over, my man.
Or still posting about their football highlights from high school.
Al Bundy.
It's over, bro.
It's like, I scored 4 touchdowns in one game. Like, we get that, dog. If I gotta watch it on the DVD, don't talk to me about it.
Don't talk to me about it. So do you ever feel like you outgrow this, or you know? I mean, if you're constantly building and always meeting new people, I mean, I feel like the community is what is going to keep you going, right?
Right. No, I don't think you can like outgrow. You ask, running. If you just keep it just to running, right, which is the main thing, at least in Philly, it's just always changing. And so, like when we first started OPAC, it was all about like who can qualify for Boston, and who's got the illest gear. And then it became like people started qualifying for Olympic trials. People started running ultras. You know, people started getting faster. You know, people started going from like buying gear at the outlets and getting it printed, or ordering it through you and getting it printed, to like getting brand deals and partnership deals. People like throwing co-hosted parties with big brands. You know, track workouts are a thing now. You know, like there's running just keeps evolving and evolving. The content piece is so critical now. It used to be you would just take one picture from the event and that was good enough. Now you got to have a photographer, a videographer, the little microphones. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm seeing people run like this now. I would break my whole body trying to. I can. So it's like anything. The business piece of it, not the business piece, but the whole. I hate the word culture. The cultural piece of it keeps changing, and so you have to keep like adapting and growing with it, so you can almost like never outgrow it, because it could change on you just like that. You know what I'm saying?
So to close out, did you deal with any challenges? What challenges have you dealt with trying to grow OPAC in general?
There's always a challenge of trying to add more people. We used to do a thing where we were going about it the wrong way. In 2 big ways I went about it the wrong way and made mistakes. The one way is I thought that if we had the illest gear, it would just bring people in. So OPAC in its early days was very much focused on like the Nike dry fits and the running jackets, and we got the sneakers, Nike ID, and the whole thing. So we looked cool, but it was like 7 of us, and we were never. And not that that can't be powerful.
Yeah.
2 people can be powerful in the. So it was the club. The common denominator is the people, not the gear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to shift my focus from everything has got to be about the gear and the marketing and how we look and how we present on Instagram, and making it more about like, are the people having a good experience? You know what I'm saying? And then the rest of that will hopefully come. And then the second piece is, speaking on the people, in my mind, it was just I just wanted it to grow organically. So it was like, I'm gonna tell the woman I'm dating and a friend, and and that only works to a certain degree. Whereas like, at some point, if your friend isn't a runner, he, she, or they is not coming out to run every week. They're not coming out in the rain. They're not coming out when it's cold. And so we had to really make it a decision to try to recruit runners. You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody could be a runner, but if you're just in it because you're my friend, you might show up to the bar after Taco Tuesdays, but like, you're not getting the 2 miles in before that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I need you for the 2 miles,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, exactly. We need you for both. If we're trying to go the running piece of the club, the running parts are important. So those are 2 things that I really think about often. Is like, I never came into OPAC and didn't think it could be a business. I'm not even going to pretend. Because a lot of people now start to run clubs specifically for the business. They want to be an influencer. They want to work with brands. They want to get the bag from a brand. And that's cool. I'm not knocking that at all. Because I was on the same time in 2012. I was like, oh,
you go further trying to build a community, though.
that helps a lot.
Yeah.
And the people who work at the brands aren't stupid. And so, they can smell through the person that every other thing is like, well, can I get this, or how can I get this, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And again, all good, but the community piece makes it just makes it
Easier buy-in.
because it's real, because it's a real buy-in.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the 2 things. And then also, you just have to. I'm learning now that you need to include more people in the process. When I was an equipment manager, director of equipment, I say director of equipment because it looks great on a resume. But when I was an equipment manager, you made all of the decisions. You're wearing this color, you're wearing this shirt, you're wearing this whatever. The athletes might not like that. You're doing all these things so you can get the credit for it. Then I started to realize that like, I could get the athlete's opinion and the coach's opinion, and they can pick out everything. I just got to order it, and I still get the credit.
Yeah.
So you made my job easier, and I still look like even more of a hero. And so now I'm learning a lot more to realize that like, I'm a 45-year-old black man. You know what I'm saying? Our group is like 65% women.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of them aren't black.
Yeah. So putting them in positions
To make decisions and influence and and drive things and leave certain things, because like, I think the cool shit is like this punk rock song from like 1982 that like nobody knows but like me and the artist. And you know what I'm saying? Like, a 24-year-old is like, I wasn't even born then.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, a couple rapid fire questions for you. Favorite pair of running shoes, or shoes in general?
Of all time or right now?
Both.
Favorite pair of shoes of all time are the Nike Air Flight Huaraches that the Fab Five wore
Okay.
back in the day.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, they retroed a couple times. Favorite running shoe right now is the Nike Infinity 4, which is discontinued. So I've been like hitting sales all crazy and trying to stock up enough pairs that I can run in them, but like not too many where like the glue is going to deteriorate before I get a chance to.
So
it's
you're
like
just holding them.
Yeah, it's just like a weird game I'm playing. Favorite running shoes of all time. I loved like the Nike Lunar Glide 5. Like, Lunar was before React. Dude, that shoe, oh my God, that was everything. Yeah, that was everything.
Post-run go-to meal or place to go to in the city.
If we're running from Old City, we always go to Almost Home. I always get the breakfast bowl, which is Brussels sprouts, arugula, potatoes, sausage, and I add bacon to it and an egg and cheese. If I'm in Fairmount, it's weirdly enough my favorite place to go after is Fed Donuts because the chicken sandwich is banging there.
Yeah.
And also I know we're gonna end up at Victory.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like chicken and IPAs, I'm good.
I'm gonna get it. I might get one for lunch today.
Footage of me running with Kipchoge. You know what I'm saying? And he seems to have like his head on straight paws and being able to, it seems like he's graciously accepting the fact that like he's in like the Michael Jordan Wizards part of his career, but he's still out here competing, and then like it doesn't seem to be affecting his legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Shelby, and let me ask Shelby Houlihan too, because she's mad fast and talented, and I got to get this burrito story. Like, dog, what really happened with the burrito? She's like, to me, I feel bad because I think she lost like a lot of her. I mean, she still crushed it, but to lose 4 years as an athlete is, at that age.
Yeah, it's tough.
I didn't think she deserved that, so I would love to like run and pick her brain about coming back from adversity and all of those things. Cool. Yeah.
So for someone that's watching this and thinking about launching a brand, a run club, or a community offering that they're sitting on, what would you say to them to get this started?
I would say first and foremost that whatever you're starting it for, try to keep true to that as much as you can, but don't be afraid to pivot if it's failing. It's like any sales job. If you have a technique and it's not working, but you still want it to work, you're gonna have to find a way to like pivot. So number one, be true to your core values, but if your core values are shit, don't be afraid to pivot. And two, any community or brand or group or team or anything, the common denominator is the people. If you have a really dope brand but nobody's buying it, you know what I'm saying? Then you don't have a dope brand. You know what I'm saying?
What's going on.
Yeah, you gotta, the customer is always right thing is a true thing, and like giving the people what they want is Amazon was selling books.
And they pivoted.
And like now Bezos is in space right now, probably.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
With Katy Perry, right?
Yeah, with Katy Perry and Elon. And like if he was just selling books, he might be able to go to like Napa. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But
he'll be with Borders right now.
Yeah. He wouldn't be. Yeah. It would be. Keep the community. And I stole this from LeBron. This is with anything. Got to keep the main thing the main thing. Yeah. Like if you are a running group, OPAC's a running group at its core. So the main thing can't be the party, and it can't be the gear, and it can't be the brand, and it can't be it's got to be the running, or you just frauding.
Yeah, sure. Brodie, I appreciate you for being here and for showing up for community as always. You've shown us what it means to lead from the front, walk with people, and move with attention. If you're watching this and you felt something, please share it and pull up to a run to support OPAC.
Please.
And where can people find you at?
Every Saturday we're running 8:45 meet, 9 o'clock start. Our schedule is on our Instagram page, which is Original Propaganda Athletic Club, at Original Propaganda Athletic Club. It's a lot, but if you start typing it, it'll pop up. We rotate between Eakins Oval, Fairmount area, and Old City. Old City, we always run from Almost Home. Although this weekend we're running from Lulu, but again, the schedule is posted. So check us out and drop a DM if you have any questions.
Thank you, Brodie. Mejire Arijaje, this is Beyond the Brand. We'll see you next time, and I appreciate you if you like, subscribe, and share a comment below.